Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So I thought after yesterday's tier list, putting Sylas in S tier, it would only be right if I did a video on Sylas. So I was looking at Showmaker'S match history, and I was actually, I was looking for the first strike Sylas because that's the newer meta. But I saw this game here that looked too crazy not to cover. So it was a game where he was playing Sylas versus Bel'Veth mid. Okay, so crazy thing number one. The second thing is that he managed to get 25 kills and almost 100,000 damage in this ranked game as Sylas. So I figured, this game looks insane. We've got to take a look at it. So Bel'Veth mid, actually on the newer patch on 12.12, after getting a little bit of a passive change, I believe it was, is actually starting to become more common. Now this is actually before the change, so it'll be interesting to see how it does back in 12.11. But I actually think on 12.12, it's possible that Bel'Veth mid actually works. Like maybe you only see it as melee champions, not too sure, but it could be a thing. So when you're in these matchups early as Sylas, generally you start Q if you're against a champion that's stronger than you early, because it allows you just to farm and kind of poke from range. Let's turn this down just a little bit more. I think in general, Sylas has a hard time trading at level 1 against a lot of the other champions, but it kind of depends what you're against. There are some champions where you can start E and you can definitely look to trade them. Actually, gonna get level 2 off this creep. Oh. Got knocked out by Bel'Veth. I'm still honestly not 100% sure what that champ does. Okay, can I clear all these? And in a pretty good spot, honestly. I think one thing that I see a lot of kind of bad Sylases do is they try and I actually see this with a lot of melee champions, so champs like Sylas, champs like Fizz, where you spike really hard at level 3, when you have all your items. So all you need to do before that is not really lose anything. And in this situation, he's actually kind of he's actually ahead, right? He's up HP, enemies used a potion, stuff like that. So if you can hit level 3, sounds really dumb, but if you can hit level 3 in a good situation, as a lot of these champions, you're actually fine. As I say that, Bel'Veth, what is that trading? Just absolutely destroys him with the channel there. That ability is actually so broken, I swear. Makes him super tanky. Okay, gets the flash. Oh, pretty close, pretty close. Bel'Veth is honestly a really insane champ. I think yeah, I don't know if she's super strong yet, but I think it's one of those stat check champions that eventually Riot will buff and it'll just be completely broken. I might go for a dive here. I have Poppy actually looking here. So yeah, it could be a dive angle. If you can get a dive on a stacked wave like this, obviously it's something you have to coordinate with your jungler. But if you can get it, oh, too bad Sylas didn't get that kill. I think it would have been much better on Sylas, but it's certainly better than nothing. And Bel'Veth doesn't have TP, so gonna lose this entire wave. It's actually a really, really good spot for Sylas to be in. Still kind of interested how he ends up doing 100,000 damage though, or 97,000 or whatever it was. Because that's, I think, pretty unheard of for a melee champion. I think the only time I've ever seen that level of damage in ranked would have been from either Runeglaive Ezreal from Runeglaive Ezreal mid from what season was that? Season 7 or something? Or maybe AP Kog'Maw? I think that might have been the same season. I actually can't really remember now. It was a long time ago. But I remember that used to put out some crazy damage. But doing 97k damage as a melee bruiser, I guess that's kind of what Sylas is. That's pretty insane. So comes back to lane here, definitely much stronger. This is one thing with Sylas is once you get more and more points in W against melee champions, you typically have a very, very good time trading. And especially with Poppy putting all this pressure mid, it's making it a lot easier for sure. I think another thing you have to be a little careful about on Sylas is just when you trade. So Sylas is one of those champions that is extremely cooldown reliant. If Sylas has his cooldowns up, it's very difficult to trade with him. And if Sylas has his cooldowns down, he's completely useless. And there's a lot of champs that aren't really like that, either because they have really short cooldowns, or because they have meaningful kind of auto attacks or some disengage or something. But Sylas, he's actually useless without his cooldowns. Gonna be another gank here. It looks like that Bel'Veth is dead, honestly. Dude, she becomes so tanky when she does that. Ooh, really low. Now, one thing as well is that when you're going the first strike build, I do believe that is better now. This VOD is, I believe, from about 12 days ago. So I think since then, Showmaker's been running first strike. But like I said, I really wanted to watch this replay because it looked insane. But one thing about first strike users in general is that typically it's better on ranged champions because generally ranged champions are the ones that get to choose when they trade. And the reason for that is melee champions, they're not so much defensive traders, but they often have to kind of, you know, wait for cooldowns to be burned. They're kind of like enduring the harass and stuff like that. But Sylas is one of the few melee champions that actually gets to kind of dictate trades. Obviously not in every matchup. Like I think Sylas is definitely counterable for sure. Has a lot of bad matchups, but if you get a decent or a good matchup with Sylas, which I think most of them probably are, you can start the trades either by hitting Q and then like going in with your E, or just opening up with E. So that's like something that a lot of melee champions can't do, and a reason why a lot of melee champions can't use first strike. But Sylas is one of the few that I think can use it to a pretty high level. I was actually on stream yesterday on Twitch TV Shok LOL, just a little shout out. I was playing Rumble mid with first strike, and I actually got a huge amount of gold in the early game. Unfortunately, I lost because my Rumble ults were terrible. But that's like another sort of thing where Rumble's like a melee champion, but sort of lanes like a range champion, honestly. You know, pokes with E, can look to kind of punish trades by going forward and stuff like that. Now, has the Warwick out here, gets a nice little trade. Could Warwick go over this wall if they can test Poppy on the Raptors. Probably not going to happen, though. I think he has just, like, too much control over mid. I think another thing that you guys, like, need to be super careful of on Sylas is, like, your CSing. I think it's very, very easy to just, like, mess up your... Oh my god, he's going for it. Does he get this? I don't think he does. Okay. Yeah, so, like, be careful not to mess up your CSing, obviously, because I think it's really easy to mess up your CS, just, like, with all your AoE and stuff. It's really ideal if you can kind of almost method CS it by like queuing the back line and then like AoEing that down and make sure you don't miss any of those, stuff like that. And that's very, very important because, you know, Sylas is like, he really is pretty gold reliant. Normally that can come from kills, but it can come from CS as well. He pushes decently and at least doesn't have to invest like too much mana into actually pushing stuff out. Now, very ahead of Bel'Veth. It'll be interesting to see what he does here. He could keep the wave in the middle, but will most likely push. I think the reason for that is like he knows that Bel'Veth kind of has to base. I don't think she can really pressure the map staying under the tower, although she might just greed for it. But okay, she is just greeding for it. But yeah, can't really, I don't know. It feels like she can't really do anything meaningful. I think what Showmaker's doing is really good. Kind of just like forcing her to stay in the lane. Dude, that ability is so whack. Oh my god, that was a giant heal. What is that? 4 points in W. Gets a huge heal. 2 kills, okay. I'm starting to see where the 97k damage might come from, but still, that's pretty crazy. What are the ults looking like this game? It actually has not great ults. I mean, they're decent ults, but nothing amazing. You know, there's no Malphite, there's no like Alistar or something like that. Oh, actually, Sinner ult's top. Gonna get an assist, maybe? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so pushes in the wave, basing, gonna make sure it doesn't lose anything. Bel'Veth is very, very far behind. She's been pressured a lot by the jungler. So comes back to lane. Building the Liandry's. Now, that's another thing. A lot of people are building Liandry's instead of Everfrost and Sylas now, which I like. I think with the durability patch, you can kind of afford to be like a little bit greedier overall in terms of like your HP and stuff. You just have a lot of extra HP compared to before. Just like every champ has, obviously. So I think if you're a champion that can itemize Liandry's like decently well over Everfrost, it can be quite good now. There just aren't many champs that can do that though, because a lot of like the Everfrost champions, they just don't use the other mythics super well. You know, like I don't think we would see Liandry's Ahri, although, you know, you could play Luden's Ahri, for example. But like, what are some of the other ones? You know, Veigar doesn't really use the other ones well. Off the top of my head, like those are the best Everfrost users at the moment, so they can't really switch. But Sylas, one of the few that actually does use the Liandry's quite well. So Bel'Veth's not mid at the moment. Actually, wasn't really paying attention. Didn't see where she went. Actually, she was topside. I actually don't know what she was doing. I don't know how these Voidlings spawn, by the way. I actually need to like read how this champion works. I know you get it when you like kill like tower, or not, is it like objectives or towers or something? But I don't know quite how it works. It's not really a champ that I've versed that much, but I actually think it is pretty good. Holy shit, there's actually so many. Dude, and they're so tanky as well. I wish Riot would add a champ that had, like, controllable minions. You know, something like... What's another game? I don't know, just something with a bit more complexity to it. Like, I don't know if you've ever played... was it, like, the 3 Vikings or Lost Vikings or something in Heroes of the Storm, where you can control, like, 3 of them at once? Or like Meepo, and is that what he's called in Dota, that you can control like 5 different clones of yourself at once or something. I think that could be quite cool. I think all the kind of minion champs in League haven't really lived up to the fantasy, I guess. She comes back, has the Andres at level 9. This is super important. So there's a lot of these champions, like Sylas, like Akali, that spike insanely hard on one item. So the quicker you get to that one item, the better. And that's like another reason why I think First Strike will be like a, well, it already is, but is going to be like better than Conqueror on this champ in general, is because, you know, when you're playing these kind of like mid-game skirmishes like Sylas, like Akali, the game is a lot about kind of getting through your laning phase and reaching that one item as soon as possible. It's not like Sylas is really weak in lane, but he's not really a strong laner either. You know, if you're against a strong laner as Sylas, like typically you'll lose, and if you're against like a weak laner as Sylas, you'll typically win, right? So he's just like, he's a stock standard laner compared to, there are some that are very, very strong, obviously. I think, you know, some of the kind of lane bullies like what are good counters? Something like Lucian or Cassio, very, very difficult for Sylas to deal with. But to be fair, like a lot of champs kind of struggle with that. So coming for a fight here, actually misses the E. Bel'Veth goes down. Didn't have an ult to use there, which is a bit annoying. But had a good kind of angle into that. I think that was also good that he didn't go in too early. You need to be kind of careful how early you go in as Sylas, because obviously if you go in too early while everyone still has their cooldowns, you can be killed quite fast. That's like super, super important. I see a lot of people throw their lead like that. Just kind of from, just, I don't know, kind of rushing the team fight. Why is this lagging, by the way? I swear this isn't me. Yeah, 1080p 60. I guess just the replay, but yeah. It's really, really important that, well, like I said in my team fighting video, I think the kind of most important things to think about when coming to team fighting are like, ooh, actually, I guess the exhaust is probably dead for this though, right? Yeah, okay. The most important things, in my opinion, when you come to team fighting, especially as a melee champion, are like thinking about which of those cooldowns are really important, like to avoid or to play around, and then like which kind of dude is most important to kill, like your target prioritization. So Sylas dies there. Actually, is he building Demonic second? I think that could be the play. What else would he be building? Does kind of look like a Demonic. Unless it's like Rylai's Sylas or something. I'm guessing it probably isn't. Skip this ahead a little bit. So coming top out of base. Interesting. So I guess like he's just coming to kind of make a cheese play rather than catching this mid wave, which is kind of understandable because I think that mid wave, it's like Puppy can catch it anyway. Okay, actually gonna grab the Bel'Veth stack. I assume that's interesting, yeah. Okay, so we'll probably go back mid here, I imagine, to collect the farm. We're actually gonna stay around and look to get the kill. He does have a bounty, so I mean, if you can get this bounty, it's really, really good, but I don't know, this guy looks a little bit strong to me. We'll see. Okay, did connect with the E. Flash? Maybe he has him here. Okay, cool. This guy still has flash, so yeah, okay. Doesn't manage to quite get him. Did kind of fall behind a little bit here. Did lose like quite a bit of CS, obviously, from not farming. It's not as bad as other champions. You know, like I said, Sylas is one of those champions that can just get a ton of gold from skirmishing. It's not like if you're playing like a champion like Orianna, a good amount of your gold is always going to have to come from CS. It gets a really good flank on mid here. And this is like super, it's just like, this is really good, right? If you can come to fights as Sylas and clean them up when everyone's like already used cooldowns, when people are already on low HP, it's so much better than if you're just like diving into a fight or you're like the engaged tool as Sylas. It's completely different. I think Sylas is much better as like, not so much a clean, yeah, not someone that really like cleans up team fights, like not to the level of like Katarina where you come in and just like kind of reset, kill everyone in the fight, but he's definitely more of, he's not really like someone that wants to start just like a front to back 5v5 with everyone on full HP. Definitely needs like some skirmishing, definitely needs some chaos to happen. But is 5-1 and getting very strong here, so probably gonna be in a really good spot. Now here, probably gonna come do this blue, I would imagine. This is one kind of nice thing about Sylas, is he has a fairly decent time doing jungle camps. He doesn't have a great amount of sustain, obviously, unless you can find access to like a champion. But does do camps like reasonably fast. And I like what he's doing here. It's kind of difficult for him to find farm. This is one thing you guys should look for. Like, looking at the map right now, like, bot wave's too far. I guess Samira should have been catching mid and Yone's catching top. So he didn't really have, like, great ways to get farm there. So went for the jungle camps instead. And I think that's very, very important. Especially if you're not playing with a jungle champion that really needs farm. Like, you know, Poppy is very different from, say, a champion like Karthus, right? Completely different. Now, has the Leandry's demonic, and his team, his AD is kind of getting destroyed. Good look for this. Okay, the Lucian flashed in and gets instantly one-shot. Has the Bel'Veth ult. This is really nice. Looks like they can probably catch up with Poppy's ghost. Oh, Bel'Veth just gobbled him up. It's another kill. Now 8-1. That was very nice there. I guess anticipated the Lucian flash, and once again, you can see that the fight kind of... It's already in motion before Sylas engages. That's really, really important for Sylas. I'm actually going to make a Sylas... I'm probably going to make an Ahri guide and then a Sylas guide. I think that'll probably be the order I do things in. Actually going to get this shutdown onto Vlad, I'm thinking. Okay, yeah, now we're in the money. Plus 1,000. Going to be very, very strong. I think one thing that... Oh, there's a couple things. Like we just talked about, like finding those fights that are kind of like chaotic, that start a bit like that is really, really important to Sylas. But one thing, just like more generally, that Sylas or that Showmaker has done really, really well this game is when your team is kind of feeding, but you're strong, there's like a couple things you can do. But I think kind of the best way to kind of play that situation out is first, fight the people on the enemy team that are weaker. You know, you saw for a long time that Sylas didn't really have much to do with Vlad. Vlad, like, definitely the strongest member on the team, and, like, did kind of look for a 1v1 on him top, like, a bit earlier in the game, but for the most part, kind of ignored Vlad, and you just get fed off the enemy team's weaker members. And then once you're actually strong, if you can get the bounty off their strongest member, it's really, really good, obviously. Like, you can just take over the game from there. But I think that's really important. Like, don't just go for their strongest member straight away. Like, you can definitely get fed off their weaker members. Now this fight, yeah, definitely did not start the way he wanted, so I'm just going to go back because I think this was kind of important. So crossed mid, starts the fight half HP, and it just, compared to, yeah, actually starts the fight at like 40% HP, just does not look anywhere near as good as the last time. So if you see there, like he's engaging onto Warwick, which is like a pretty useless member, honestly. Like if he's engaging on, say, like Senna, Lucian, or Vlad, it looks way different, but Warwick just doesn't really like mean anything for the fight. So I think, it was kind of poor target prioritization there. Also, the fact that he lost so much HP before the fight even started obviously isn't too ideal. But I think, yeah, the fight wouldn't have gone that great even if he were full HP. Maybe. Maybe it would have gone... It definitely would have gone better, but I just don't think that engaging onto the Warwick to start the fight is really the way you want to start. Now, Sylas one of those champions that benefits a ton from CDR and from Zhonya's as well. So the CDR plus Zhonya's, it means that oftentimes you can use your rotation, then you can Zhonya's, and then you can get off another rotation. And that's super, super important. There's a few champions like that. Fizz is another one that kind of like uses Zhonya's to buy himself a second rotation in a team fight. I don't think they can kill Sylas here. Nice Zhonya's. Maybe we'll re-engage with the Warwick guy. Okay. Oh, he went for it, but he missed. Has to flash out. I respect that, though. Can probably kill the Vlad. Okay, nice. With Vlad dead, I don't think there's anyone that really threatens here. Okay, actually, Lucian altered. Maybe if they overextend, I think could look for a re-engage. Like 1W and you return to pretty much full HP. Actually going to look for it. Oh, does not quite get the W. But Samira went kind of crazy. Got a bunch of kills. I think you chase this. I think, yeah, she's probably dead. Ooh, actually misses that. Going to get kited out. Hits a Q, though. Ooh. So close. Maybe just go back to this bot wave. Well, back in one more time. It's very annoying to catch up to Senna. Her range is really crazy. So, I'm going to come back to this bot wave here. We'll probably look for a base. Dragon spawning sort of soon, so if he wants to contest this, probably needs to base like right now. Actually, could maybe stay a bit longer and then TP to the drag, or they might just not fight drag at all. Because they are like sort of behind and they already have 2 drags, so it's not like they really need to contest drags. But I think they can, honestly. Like, I think they can fight. Staying on the map a long time. I wonder, does he get an item off this? Let's actually see what he buys here. Because that was definitely a long stay, and I assume they're giving drag, so it probably doesn't matter now. Okay, gets the rod. So I'm guessing going Rabadon's next. That's looking really good. Like, definitely don't need the Void. They don't have any MR at all. And it's getting to that point where he has enough AP that going Rabadons will be pretty good. So you can see what they did, what Red Team did there was very smart. They're behind. They can afford to give up drags because they already have 2, and they managed to trade it for quite a bit. I believe Yon got the top tower there. So Yon actually gets quite a bit of gold. And like Yon, one of those champs that as long as he hits his items, it doesn't really matter like how underfed he is. Like a 0-8 Yon hits 2 items, honestly pretty impactful. Okay, they're starting the Baron. This is not great for them. I think Sylas gets a really big team fight here. Gets the Vlad ult as well. Vlad goes down pretty much for free. Just going to get executed by Sylas here. Oh, actually, okay, wasted his flash. I think Sylas can definitely chase this with the Vlad ult, as long as he can actually get on them. Although that's kind of difficult. Maybe they actually get away with that. The Vlad actually bought a lot of time. It might have been better for Sylas just to ignore Vlad after he's on it and let the rest of the team kill him. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to know. Okay, Bel'Veth actually re-engaging. Dude, she's so tanky. Oh, misses that. Senna's doing so much work, actually. Has to wait for his cooldowns, but could get back in with a W here. Oh, that was so close. Damn, actually gets kind of kited out and taken down. That's rough. It is like really important that you use your E well, you know, because if you E forward kind of like that and then miss the follow-up chain, don't kind of have access to the W heal onto someone, you just kind of get kited out like that. Like you can't really get the heal or anything, and then you don't have any mobility because you just used your E. You can see, by the way, that this Yon, despite being like a super weak, 1-9, is actually like pretty strong now that he has 2 items. I think he could maybe kill him here. Oh my god, what is that healing? Definitely gonna have to think about going back. Might have stayed a bit too long. Think he is gonna die to the Bel'Veth here. Yeah, oh, die to Lucian instead. Okay, so back on the map, steals the Warwick ult. I feel like the Sylas ults this game just honestly aren't that great. Could maybe look back in here. Or E doesn't quite connect, although I'm not sure he wanted that E to connect, to be fair. W to creep. Yeah, he's probably gonna die for that. Or maybe? Oh, very close. So close to getting the... I don't know what you call that. Is it a res, or is it just like prevent you from dying? The, what's it, the Renata W. So, okay, I'm starting to see how this game ended up at 97k damage. Like, it's just non-stop brawling, and he has like really good items for this. I think Liandry's Demonic with Rabadons, like those 3 items, that's like an absurd amount of damage for basically any champion, especially if you're AoE and can apply it to multiple targets. Now, pushing out the top wave, could probably, Krugs aren't up actually. I was going to say could probably do the Krugs, but I think can keep pushing. Like Dragon's not for a while here, and the enemy team base, so there shouldn't really be anyone here. So it can take this opportunity to push out the side wave, and this is really important. Honestly, not so much for the gold anymore as it is the XP. You know, like at this point in the game, obviously the gold is nice, hitting that Rabadon's a bit further, but it's still very important that you like hit 16, especially, and like as early as possible. Like 16 at 26 minutes is pretty good. Actually, micro down on the side wave here. Has his team sort of nearby. Not sure about E'ing forward. Yeah, okay, not too sure. I actually think he might have been able to get out of that if he E'd towards his team, but I respect it. And stuck in. Dude, the death timers are at 45. Some very high death timers. His team kind of got rolled there. Okay. Back on the map, has the Rabadons level 16, so this is basically as strong as you can possibly get on Sylas. Obviously, he has one more item, which I guess will be a Void. I'm actually not too sure what it'll be, or maybe like a Lich Bane or something. But we'll do like an absurd amount of damage right now. The classic E in and forced to flash out. It sucks that there aren't kind of like better ults to grab this game. You know, if there was something like Leona ult, Malphite, Alistair, a Mumu, that... like, you would do a crazy amount of damage right now. I always suck at using Lucian on Sylas for some reason. Okay, Vlad used ult, got exhausted. Lucian dash. To be honest, both teams scaling is pretty good. Like, I think Sylas, Yon, Renata, really crazy scaling. And then on the other team, like Senna, Bel'Veth, Vlad. So it's definitely looking like a pretty spicy late game. For sure. Like, both teams kind of have some... semi-useless champs, like I think Poppy late game, Warwick late game, pretty much not champs at all. It's funny how it's both the junglers. You know, jungler is like literally Thanos for the first 10 minutes of the game and then quickly becomes useless. So Sylas TPing bot. This looks good. It's a fight that's already started. Cooldowns have already been used, so very good for Sylas to come and clean this up. Could maybe chase this, although has to think about this like mid-wave entering the entering his base. Actually gonna look at the Warwick here. Warwick looks super dead. I don't think there's any way he gets out of this. Oh, actually, maybe there is. That Lucian looks pretty low though. Ooh. Lucian manages to dash out. Poppy gonna ult away Warwick, I guess? Yeah. That was pretty nice. Guess that, dude, that Vlad still has a bounty, 150 gold. We're at 13 kills now. I wish we could see the damage dealt at the moment. I imagine it's pretty high. I think Warwick is literally like a damage farm for Sylas. Ooh, actually managed to cancel that, I think. And the cooldowns now are so low for Sylas. Can actually just like keep spamming. Ooh. Sylas on 3.7k HP as well as 500 AP. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Look at this Bel'Veth build, by the way. Shieldbow, Bork, Rageblade. Is that really the best? I'm not sure. I feel like I would have thought something like a different mythic. I would have thought like Bork, I don't know, Bork Sundra or something? I don't know though. This does give you... Oh, that was so close to hitting. What is the E cooldown now? It's like actually 5 seconds or something. It's really low. Ooh, forces out the flash. That guy was pretty scared. They're actually going to start the Baron here. I'm not a... Well, actually, no, they can probably get it. Warwick is still dead. I didn't actually realize Warwick was still dead. The death time is so long. Ooh. Doesn't quite get the W heal. Maybe could re-engage and get it on someone. Oh. Okay, manages to get 1 W heal. Okay, nice. So they did manage to take him out. Samira did a ton of work that fight. I think it would have been kind of... I think Sylas should probably look a bit more... Yeah, I don't know why this is lagging, by the way. I think Sylas should be looking a bit more for the Vlad ult. I feel like that's probably better in general. I think Sylas wins this with Conqueror. Although Warwick also has a crazy amount of healing. Actually gets the Baron. Holy shit, Warwick healing is crazy. But has W back up. Dude, Sylas just does not have cooldowns anymore at this point. W cooldown is like actually 2 or 3 seconds. I actually love late game Sylas. It's like 15-second ult cooldown, 3-second like W cooldown. You feel like you're playing Earth while everyone else is playing the normal game. You know, one nice thing about having like your inhib down is you just get to farm tons of creeps. I was playing a game yesterday of Cassio AD versus like one of my friends on Ezreal, and the whole game I just like didn't care about winning or losing. I just wanted to have more CS than him, and at the very end of the game we took down 3 inhibs, and then he just got to farm them all and actually did manage to end the game with more CS than me. So I was very sad about that, but I walked away with the LP. So who's the winner now? Who's the real winner? Picks up this Lichbane as the last item, so very strong. Level 18, 700 AP, pretty much like a 2 or 3 second cooldown on all the abilities. Actually going to do a crazy amount of damage. I think it's tempting to buy Healing Cut this game, and I think that's a lot like something maybe a lot of you guys would do, but it's really important that you let your support buy Healing Cut if they can, because it's just like allows you to keep building those damage items. And also the support healing item, Putrefier, is much better than like the mid lane options. Kills Vlad. I think Vlad and Senna are probably like the biggest targets at the moment. Senna's probably the most important actually, but Senna's pretty hard to kill. Just like with her range. Yeah, it's very hard to actually get on her, but I think if you can, obviously you can do a lot. Still as a Bel'Veth are. Looking here, if we can find access to Senna, it would be really good. It is really difficult. Like, Senna's not really... You know, a champion like Lucian might dash in, might make a mistake, but Senna just has tons of range, and she also doesn't really have a good way to kind of, like, misposition almost. You know, you'll see a lot of people fed on, like, Lucian or Tristana or something, kind of jump in, give you that opportunity, but Senna doesn't really ever give that. Ooh, Warwick is so fast. Almost got that. This is a good position to start with. I really like having the flank angle here. It's much better than just like a front-to-back team fight. Okay, so they decided to give the drag, actually run down mid. I think a smart decision from blue team. It would be pretty difficult to walk in and just like kind of contest that. So I like what they did here. This is really good as well. Trying to find... actually, if he can zone out Lucian out of this fight, could be pretty high value. Yeah, this is pretty good. Oh, gets the flash. Tons of damage put out, even while he's exhausted, actually. That was a crazy amount of damage. I mean, I guess it makes sense given how fed he is, but ooh, damn. Sylas just hits different when you got 17 kills or 19 kills now. I think you can honestly clean this up. Has to be quite careful getting one shot, but as long as you don't get one shot, you have such like low cooldowns that you can just keep... Okay, yeah. Not even close to being one shot. Actually, we'll just like 1v5 them in the team fight here. This is crazy. E cooldown is literally like 4 seconds and W is like 3 seconds. That's so crazy now. Just non-stop. Just wow. Dude, what is this? It's like those two champs fighting like the two healing champs, the Warwick and the Sylas. It's like those tank fights from, I don't know what season it was, when it was like Cinderhulk season, and people, it would be like jungle Zac with Cinderhulk and jungle like Gragas was Sejuani with Cinderhulk, and the fights, the 1v1s actually just took forever. Up to 22 kills now. Is he going to go for the solo end? I kind of don't feel like he can do it against Lucian Samira. I think there is like a bit too much kiting, but you know, maybe he could actually just like 1v2 them. They don't have an exhaust and does a crazy amount of damage to this tower. Manages to knock one of them down. Actually going to go for it. Okay, Lucian trolled that super hard. Lucian actually mega trolled that. Oh, he will get a W off, but I think he's dead. Maybe he can turn it around? Not quite. Yeah, okay, Lucian I think kind of died for free there, but I respect it. Did manage to knock down one of the towers. Gives over a 700 gold to Vladimir, which is definitely not optimal, but like doesn't really matter at this point in the game. Honestly, not really, I don't think. Now, is actually considering selling his boots. I wonder what he'd buy. Kind of curious here. Let me actually skip this ahead. Gonna buys a Banshee's last item. Interesting. I'm not sure if that's good or not. Alright, he's TPing. TPing into a fight. Got a flank on Lucian, it looks like. Oh yeah, this is so good. Lucian instantly dead. Maybe gonna look for Warwick next? What's his movement speed at now? 379. Okay, pretty good. Yeah, I actually like selling the boots. Oh no. Tragic. Warwick ulted into the wall. Can you catch up to him? Like, maybe. He doesn't even need movement speed. He just needs to E over and over to keep moving. This guy's not long for this world. Oh, I want to play Sylas so bad. This is inspiring me. Maybe I'll play it today. Okay. What an actual 1v9 though. Like, dude, his top laner is 1 in 15. His bot lane has 18 deaths. That's insane. Here we have the 24 kill, 6 death Sylas. This champ is a literal 1v9 champ. You know, there aren't that many champs that can like literally 1v9, but Sylas is one of them. Where are they? They should be camping a bush somewhere, right? Or maybe there's all on mid. I think this Baron dies insanely fast now. There's so much DPS from Sylas, from Yone. Yeah, okay. That Baron is not going to be alive very long. Late game Baron actually falls over so quick. Oh, a blue buff. Not that we really need blue buff anymore, but does come through and kind of two-shot it. Two-shot these raptors, or not raptors, those wolves as well. Bot wave's not in a great spot, so might go and clear that. Oh, decides to sell Banshees for boots. Okay, so he decided it was not worth it after all. Oh, he actually sold it for Sork shoes though. That's kind of interesting. I'm not sure that's that good. I feel like maybe just not having boots and having Void Staff is better because they have a lot of MR, like Spirit Visage on the mid jungle. I guess it actually is only the mid jungle though. And ideally, like, you're not hitting the mid jungle. Obviously you can, but if you can get access to like center or something, it's a lot better. Okay, gets the Lucian ult pretty much for free. Oh, John just tanked the Warwick ult. So maybe not for free anymore. Ooh, Mira ult, I mean not Mira ult. Renata ult did hit the Lucian. Ooh, flashes but misses. Does have access to Senna though. Okay, Senna dies, so I think this is a team fight win. Although it could be kind of close, we'll see. He did have GA. Maybe looks for a re-engage here, or maybe just base. Gonna push out bot wave. Has Baron recall, so can always get back. It's gonna have to hold this base pretty much 1v3 though. Poppy doesn't really add anything, I don't think. Although she is quite tanky, to be fair. Okay, he's selling another item. Buys Cosmic this time. Dude, he's actually just changing his item every time. Okay, has the Vlad ult. Very strong at this moment. Maybe just Vlad ult the wave. Yeah, I like that. That guy dead? That guy's super dead. Wait, they're all super dead. Stenna's doing a crazy amount of damage though. From the other side of the map as well. Dude, Senna late game. There's so many champs nowadays that late game, they just become actually ridiculous. I swear I guess he has to go Cosmic because he kind of needs the movement speed. Okay, now he's selling Cosmic for boots. Dude, this is the most item buys and sells I've seen in a game. He must have so much extra gold. I really think the Void Staff would probably be the best though. Because maybe then you actually can kill their frontline in a reasonable amount of time. Because it does seem sort of hard to actually reach Senna in a fight. She's just so long range, and like if you're a melee carry, it is pretty difficult, right? Warwick's actually in here. Oh, this is a really good flank. Oh, they actually knew. Oh, wow. That was really, really weird. Oh, it doesn't quite get the res. His team's kind of scaled enough at this point, though. That was crazy, by the way. That wasn't warded at all, right? I guess, like, maybe Warwick just knew. Or did Warwick turn his sweeper on? Maybe Warwick turned sweeper on. I didn't actually see in the moment. But yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of unfortunate, but has definitely bought the time needed for his team to scale. You know, Samira full build, Yon almost full build, so definitely hit some scaling breakpoints. Damn, it's actually crazy. If that fight had gone like a little bit better for him, probably would have hit the 100k damage in a ranked game as Sylas, which I don't think I've ever seen. So that game is over. What a crazy game. 39 minutes. I don't think I've ever VOD reviewed on YouTube, at least, a game that long. So guys, that is going to be it for this video. If there's something you should take away from this video, I would say, honestly, like, well, there's a lot of things. I think it's really important that you hit that like one item as Sylas really early in the game. And I also think the way you approach team fights is super important. You know, making sure that those fights are kind of like already started before you really get involved. You kind of saw this game that a lot of those fights that don't start that way, you know, either when he's coming in already on low HP, or he's engaging on targets that like don't really matter, like the Warwick, or just like, you know, it's not really a fight that's in progress. Like everyone still has their cooldowns, everyone still has HP. It's much harder for him to have impact. So I think, yeah, that's really important. Also, a reminder, I do think First Strike kind of is the better build at the moment. This game was Conqueror, but it was like, I think 11, 12 days ago on the previous patch. But since then, Showmaker's been playing First Strike Sylas, and I do think that is the way to go at the moment. Conqueror, I mean, it's still good, right? But I think First Strike really helps you hit that first item like a lot earlier in the game, kind of start taking over, and one of the few melees that can actually choose when to trade, which makes First Strike pretty good as well. So guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you did like it, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.